This is Vinyl Voices Radio, ESPN 97.5. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John Goodman.
Tessie Sundahan. All right, so welcome back to Vinyl Voices Radio on ESPN 97.5. Show is brought to you every week by the Adley Law Firm, downtown Houston. We have Frank's Pizza as a pizza sponsor, and this week's beer, our beer sponsor this week is Bad Astronaut. John Denman is a co-host to this show. He's on the road this week, so with the conductor out, we're going to keep the train rolling. And we have a guest host this week, Gladys Fuentes. Say hi, Gladys.
Hi, Gladys.
Gladys is a music writer here in Houston. You can see a lot of her work at the Houston Press, and she's written pretty extensively about this week's guest. You want to introduce our guest?
Sure. Amanda Pascali from Houston, but is originally Sicilian and Egyptian parents, right? Writes great music.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Sorry.
First generation. Beautiful songs rooted in like your past and some modern flair to it.
Hello. And we're going to listen to some songs. So that's how this show works. We listen to songs and then we talk about what we heard. So what are we going to listen to first? You pick.
Oh no. I really honestly want to let you guys pick because I want, I listen to these songs all the time and we listen to these songs all the time. We have our own vision of, orders of songs and what the songs mean to us, but I'm really curious to hear what y'all would choose.
I love the Mihaela. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mihaela?
Yes.
That's what we're going to listen to first, y'all.
I had a photograph of the perfect moment. It would just be black, like the way it looks when I close my eyes. Are you smiling? Are you dancing in a room without windows? Mihaela, if it wasn't you. Mihaela, if it wasn't you. Who would I be? Oh, who would I be? I got off the train to an office in the city where I asked the name of a man. They said that he doesn't exist. I'd been searching so long for something non-existent. Well, does anyone really exist? Or believe in me? Mihaela, if it wasn't you. Mihaela, Yes, you are the one I love. You are the one I love. Yes, you are the one I love. Sincerely, Mihaela, Mihaela. If it wasn't you, Mihaela, Mihaela. If it wasn't true, then how would I be? Tell me, who would I be? Who would I be?
All right, so that was Mihaela, Mihaela. I'm trying. Is it? It's
Yeah.
pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us about the song, kind of the origin, where it came from.
Well, I have different stories that I tell for this song depending on where I am. Usually, when my parents aren't there, I tell the
Okay.
true story about it, which is that Mihaela was my dad's girlfriend before he met my mom and before he came to the U.S. And the song is just kind of this reflection that I wrote about when I was 16 or 17, and I found all these love letters from this woman named Mihaela that she wrote to my dad, like, don't leave, don't, where are you, where did you go, what happens to you? And I think a lot of children of immigrants have this moment when they start to wonder, who would I have been if my parents would have never come to the US, or if, one of my parents would have never left their country. And it's kind of just exploring that, all the different versions of yourself that could possibly exist if you or your parents made a single decision that would have changed the course of their lives and your life forever.
Yeah, that's such a cool concept, and I know that your family is, pretty integral to the music that you make. So, I told you this isn't a show where we're like, give us your backstory, but this is kind of a natural segue for you to talk about that. I think is, being first generation here.
Yeah, I think when my parents came to the U.S., obviously they didn't have any connections or friends or anything. So when they met each other and fell in love and had a family, they really instilled, I think, in me and my sisters, for better or for worse, this kind of attitude of, we might not have other people, but we have ourselves. Like when you can't count on anybody else, you're going to be able to count on your family. And so family was always really important to me growing up. My sisters were my best friends. My parents are still my best friends. And even my band that is here with me, Addison and Federico, we are Amanda Pascali and the family. It's kind of like this idea of family that transcends actual blood. It's the people that you can count on. So yeah, all of that is, there's kind of a blurred line between what is backstory and what is the real story.
Right.
It's family.
Yeah.
And with those letters, she was writing him and she didn't know where he was, right?
No.
He was in like a work camp? Or-
Yeah, so my dad was speaking out against the government, which in Romania it was communist government, and he was essentially kicked out of the country and sent to a labor camp. And then after 2 years in this concentration camp, he was accepted for asylum in the US as a refugee, which is where he came and he met my mom. And this just big, melting pot of cultures and identities formed when my parents fell in love as a result of this rebellion. And when you know that, it kind of makes more sense why I write the kind of music that I write.
Yeah. It's so personal, and so family oriented. And I know you just spoke to how, the guys are the family, but I want to ask them, just kind of being part of the song, how you guys connect with that, because obviously, Amanda, you know her story, but you're bringing your own backgrounds into the music, you know, as you're performing. So speak to that a little bit, just that connection.
Well, it's this song. It's interesting. Amanda wrote it when she was 17. So this most recent version took on a different form because it's not just Amanda playing guitar and voice. Like we have strings, we have drums, we have electric guitar now. So having these different perspectives, like you say, you know, you can add layers on top of it and make it, you know, have a different format. So we were talking earlier before the last break, you know, it kind of became like this rock ballad. And I wonder, you know, people that already knew you and knew your like folk style, they might have this like entry into your music of, you know, I like Bob Dylan, I like this type of singer-songwriter harmonica. How many people get introduced to your music, you know, being like rockers, you know, and then they hear this kind of like different style, but it's the same story.
Right.
It just has a different format.
Right.
And I think you find that in every genre. You can find your story in different genres around the world. So there's a common thread. It's just maybe you found your way to music through one musical tradition. And we do try and experiment as much as possible with, oh, let's try this style. I think it would work, you know, with like a tango arrangement. I think it would work with like a more jazzy arrangement. So it's a lot of fun, you know, even if I don't connect as much, you know, from my personal background.
Right.
There's a lot that you can do to kind of shape the structure of the song to say, who could you reach, you know, by putting it in this new format?
Yeah, I really love that idea because I think we're going to talk a lot about language tonight, you know, just as we get into some of the other songs, but that's the language of music. You know, that's what you're talking about, Addison, is that that's something universal that plays everywhere. So, you know, that's a really cool answer to, you know, that question about where the song came from and how it exists in this, you know, particular version.
I was telling them earlier, I love the kind of landscape, excuse me, the like crescendo kind of. So when you do that live, is that you doing it on guitar?
Well, I didn't participate in this recording in
but-
particular. But yeah, that could be certainly an option, or with the keyboards,
Yeah.
you know, to give more volume, for sure. Yeah.
And it's a big, it's tricky. In the studio, you have the magic of unlimited tracks.
Yeah.
So I could say like, oh, I'll play violin. Let me put another violin, you know, let's do cello, like whatever. Live, we have, you know, we can only play one instrument at a time. You could probably do two at a time. But you have more creative possibilities in the studio. But then live, we're limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's fun too,
Yeah.
because there's that magic of it. It's like, you know, intimate performance.
You gotta find new ways to communicate, you
Yeah.
know, and more lively.
Yeah. So this is an original that we just heard. And when we come back from the break here, we're going to listen to not an Amanda Pascali originally written song and talk about that and what you're doing with songs like that. So that'll be when we come back from the break. It's Vinyl Voices Radio on ESPN 97.5.
I got off the train to an office in the city where
This is Vinyl Voices, brought to you by Adley Law Firm, Houston's personal injury attorneys for 30 years.
It doesn't accent